The alarm bells rang through Station Delta 7 like angry wasps. Commander Crix pulled his forearms away from his morning meal and rushed to the control room. His orange skin turned pale as he looked at the screens. Something big had just appeared, at the edge of Zephyrian space. "What is that thing?" Crix asked his crew. The object on the screen looked like nothing he had ever seen before. It was not round like most ships. It was long and sharp, like a knife made of metal and light. "Unknown ship, sir," said his communications officer. "It came out of hyperspace 3 minutes ago. No signals, no identification codes, nothing." Crix had been running this station for 20 years. He had seen many alien ships come to the Empire asking for trade deals or begging not to be conquered. They always sent messages first. They always announced who they were. This ship did nothing. "Send the standard greeting," Crix ordered. "Tell them they are in Zephyrian space and must identify themselves." The message went out across space. Crix waited. His crew waited. The strange ship just sat there in the darkness, not moving, not talking, miles away on the mysterious vessel. Captain Jake Morrison stood on his bridge and watched the alien station through the main screen. His ship, the UES Defiance, had traveled further from Earth than any human had ever gone before. The journey took 2 years. Now they had found what they were looking for, other intelligent life. "Captain, we're getting a message from that station," said Lieutenant Sam Parker from his position at the communications console. "They want us to identify ourselves and state our business." Morrison was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth before joining the Space Navy. "What do you think, Commander Brooks?" Lisa Brooks stood next to Morrison. She was his second in command and had known him for 15 years. "The translation computer is working perfectly, sir. We understand their language, but they don't know anything about us yet." Morrison nodded slowly. Through months of listening to radio signals, Earth's scientists had learned many alien languages. The Zephyrian language was one of them. But the aliens had never heard human voices before. "Send a response," Morrison said. "Tell them we come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic contact." Sam sent the message. On Station Delta 7, Crix nearly fell out of his chair when the reply came back in perfect Zephyrian language. "Sir, they're speaking our language perfectly," the communications officer said with wide eyes. "But this ship isn't in any of our databases. I've never seen anything like it." Crix looked at the strange vessel again. It was only one ship, but something about it made him nervous. The energy readings were unlike anything the Empire had on record. How did they learn our language? "We've never made contact with this species before." "I don't know, sir. Should I call for backup?" "Yes. Send a message to Fleet Command. Tell them we have an unknown contact that refuses to follow standard protocols." On the Defiance, Dr. Karen White was studying the alien station through her instruments. "Captain, their technology is advanced but different from ours. They use plasma-based systems for almost everything. Their ships are probably 3 times the size of anything we've built." Morrison listened carefully. "Weapons. Definitely armed, sir. Energy weapons, missile systems, defensive barriers. Standard for a military outpost." Commander Brooks checked her tactical display. "Sir, we're picking up more ships heading this way. Looks like 6 vessels, all larger than us." Morrison had expected this. Aliens would want to show their strength when meeting unknown visitors. "Any hostile moves?" "Not yet, sir. They're taking positions around us, but keeping their distance." "Good. We stick to the plan. We're here to make peaceful contact, but we defend ourselves if attacked." The Zephyrian patrol fleet arrived 2 hours later. 6 warships, each one carrying enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Fleet Captain Voss commanded the lead ship. He had dealt with dozens of first contact situations before. Usually, unknown vessels surrendered immediately when they saw Imperial warships. "Unknown vessel," Voss broadcast to the human ship. You are surrounded by ships of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. Lower your defenses and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Morrison listened to the translation. Sam, send a response. Tell them we appreciate their concern, but decline their inspection. We're willing to meet on neutral ground to discuss our presence here. When the message reached the Zephyrian fleet, Captain Voss couldn't believe what he heard. No one refused inspection by Imperial forces. Ever. Did they just say no to us? Asked his weapons officer. They did, Voss replied. He had never encountered such behavior. Maybe they don't understand our authority in this region. Send another message. Make it clear that refusing inspection is an act of aggression against the Empire. Morrison received the second message and smiled slightly. Commander Brooks, what's your assessment? They're used to being in charge, sir. Probably haven't met anyone who could stand up to them before. Classic bullying behavior. Lieutenant Parker, send this message exactly as I say it. Morrison cleared his throat. Captain, this is Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Defiance. We respect your authority in your territory, but we are not subject to your laws. We came here peacefully and will leave peacefully when our business is concluded. We pose no threat to your empire, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. I suggest we arrange a proper diplomatic meeting instead of pointing weapons at each other. The message traveled through space and reached every ship in the Zephyrian fleet. Captain Voss read it 3 times before he understood what he was seeing. This alien captain was treating the Imperial Navy as equals. No species had ever done that before. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, should I inform Admiral Corlin about this situation? Voss looked at the human ship again. It sat calmly in space, surrounded by 6 Imperial warships, showing no fear at all. Something was very wrong here. Ships that showed no fear usually had good reasons for their confidence. Yes, Voss said finally. Tell the Admiral we have a situation that requires his immediate attention, and tell him to bring the battle group. On the Defiance, Morrison watched the alien ships maintain their positions. His crew worked quietly at their stations, ready for anything. They had trained for this moment for years. Earth's first contact with alien civilization would either make history or start a war. Captain, Brooks said softly, they're probably calling for reinforcements. I know, Morrison replied. Let them come. It's time the galaxy learned that humanity doesn't scare easily. The stage was set. 2 civilizations that had never met before now faced each other in the darkness of space. One was an ancient empire used to commanding fear and respect. The other was a young species that had earned their place in the stars through centuries of warfare and innovation. Neither side knew it yet, but this moment would change the galaxy forever. Admiral Vex Corlin received the emergency message while reviewing conquest reports from the outer systems. His red eyes scanned the text twice before he understood what Captain Voss was telling him. An unknown ship was refusing Imperial inspection and treating the Navy as equals. Impossible, Corlin muttered to himself. In his 50 years of service, no species had ever shown such disrespect to the Empire. He stood up from his command chair, his massive frame casting shadows across the bridge of his flagship. Prepare the battle group for immediate departure, he ordered his crew. All 12 ships. We have some aliens who need to learn proper respect. The Admiral's fleet was the pride of the Zephyrian military. 12 massive warships, each one capable of destroying entire cities. They had conquered 47 star systems over the past century. No force in known space could stand against them. 3 hours later, the battle group dropped out of hyperspace near Station Delta 7. The human ship still sat calmly in the same position, completely surrounded by Zephyrian vessels. To Admiral Corlin, it looked like a small fish surrounded by sharks. On the Defiance, Commander Ryan Clark was working frantically in the engineering section. Captain, their ships are big, he reported over the intercom. Really big. Each one probably has 10 times our firepower. Morrison stood on his bridge, watching the new arrivals appear on his screen. 18 Zephyrian ships now surrounded his single vessel. The odds were not good, but Morrison had faced worse situations during the war on Mars. How are our systems, Ryan? Morrison asked. All green, sir. Shields at maximum power. Weapons ready. The new fusion reactors are running perfectly, Lieutenant. Amy Foster checked her weapons console. She was young, but had trained on the most advanced combat systems Earth had ever built. Captain, I'm reading their weapons signatures. Energy-based systems, mostly. Our shields should handle them. Morrison nodded. Earth's scientists had studied alien technology for months by intercepting their communications. Human engineers had built the Defiance specifically to fight against energy weapons. Admiral Corlin's voice boomed across all frequencies. Attention, unknown vessel. I am Admiral Vex Corlin of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. You are completely surrounded and outnumbered. 18-1. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated according to Imperial law. Morrison listened to the translation. Sam, send a response on all frequencies so every ship can hear it. Ready, sir? Morrison spoke clearly and calmly. Admiral Corlin, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Defiance. We come in peace and have no hostile intentions. However, we are not citizens of your empire and do not recognize your authority over us. We will defend ourselves if attacked. I suggest we resolve this through diplomatic discussion rather than threats. The message reached every ship in the Zephyrian fleet. On the Admiral's flagship, the bridge crew looked at each other in amazement. No one spoke to Admiral Corlin like that and lived. Corlin's face turned dark red with anger. Did this primitive alien just refuse my direct order? Yes, sir, his communications officer replied nervously, and he called my lawful commands threats. Yes. Sir Corlin had conquered species across half the galaxy. He had burned entire worlds that refused to submit. This single alien ship was making him look weak in front of his own fleet. Open a channel to the alien vessel, Corlin commanded. I will make this very simple for them. The channel opened. Corlin's voice was cold and threatening. Captain Morrison, you have 1 minute to lower your defenses and surrender. If you refuse, I will destroy your ship and everyone on it. This is your final warning. On the Defiance, the bridge crew listened to the ultimatum. Lieutenant Sam Parker looked nervous. Captain, maybe we should consider their offer. 18 ships against 1 doesn't seem like good odds. Morrison looked at his young communications officer. Sam, how many times did Earth forces face impossible odds during the colony wars? Many times, sir. And what did we learn? Sam straightened. Up you. That odds don't matter if you have better technology and training, sir. Exactly. Morrison turned to Commander Brooks. Lisa, what's your tactical assessment? Brooks studied her instruments. Their ships are huge, but slow, built for intimidation and overwhelming firepower against weaker opponents. Our ship is designed for speed and precision. Their weapons are powerful but predictable, and their defenses, standard energy barriers. They'll stop traditional weapons, but they've probably never seen anything like our railguns. Morrison made his decision. Amy, prepare all weapons systems. Ryan, give me maximum power to engines and shields. Sam, send one final message to the Admiral. The message went out on all frequencies. Admiral Corlin, we will not surrender to threats. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves with all necessary force. This is your opportunity to withdraw and avoid unnecessary bloodshed. On the Admiral's flagship, the bridge crew couldn't believe what they were hearing. This alien captain was actually threatening them. Corlin laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound that echoed through his ship. Did he just threaten us? One small ship against the entire third battle group. Sir, his tactical officer said carefully, Their energy readings are unusual. Maybe we should be cautious. Cautious, Corlin roared. We are the Zephyrian Imperial Navy. We have conquered half the galaxy. I will not be cautious with some unknown aliens who don't know their place. The Admiral turned to his weapons officer. Target their engines and weapons systems. Disable them so we can take prisoners. I want to interrogate these humans personally. Yes, sir. All ships are targeting the alien vessel. Fire. 18 Zephyrian warships opened fire at the same time. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and energy missiles streaked through space toward the lone human ship. It was enough firepower to destroy a space station. On the Defiance, Amy Foster watched her screen as the incoming weapons approached. Impact in 5 seconds. Captain. All weapons targeted at us. Shields holding steady, reported Ryan Clark from engineering. The alien weapons struck the Defiance's shields, like ocean waves hitting a cliff. The energy barriers absorbed every blast, every beam, every missile. When the light faded, the human ship sat completely undamaged in space. Admiral Corlin stared at his screen in shock. What happened? Why didn't our weapons work? Sir, his weapons officer said with confusion, all shots hit the target directly, but their shields absorbed everything. I've never seen defensive systems like that. Impossible. Fire again. Full power. The second barrage was even more intense. Every ship in the Zephyrian fleet fired their most powerful weapons at the small human vessel. Space lit up like a star as energy weapons hammered against the Defiance's shields. Again, nothing happened. The human ship sat calmly in space, completely unharmed. On the Defiance bridge, Morrison turned to his weapons officer. Amy, I think we've been patient long enough. Show them what human engineering can do. Amy Foster's fingers moved across her console. Railgun systems online. Quantum torpedoes armed. Energy weapons ready. Target the nearest cruiser. Fire when ready. Firing now, sir. The Defiance's first shot was a railgun projectile, traveling at 30% of light speed. It hit the Zephyrian cruiser's shields and passed right through them like they weren't there. The metal slug punched through the alien ship's hull and exploded inside the engine room. The Zephyrian cruiser died in 3 seconds. Its hull cracked open like an egg, and it broke apart in a shower of metal and flame. Admiral Corlin watched. One of his most powerful ships destroyed by a single shot from the alien vessel. How is that possible? Before anyone could answer, 2 more Zephyrian ships exploded. The human weapons seemed to ignore shields completely. Energy beams cut through armor like paper. Torpedoes appeared inside the alien ships and detonated from within all ships' retreat. Corlin screamed, "Get us away from that thing." But the human ship was faster than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. It moved through space like a hunting shark, picking off the fleeing alien vessels one by one. In 5 minutes. Admiral Corlin's proud battle group was reduced to burning wreckage. Only his flagship remained, and it was badly damaged. More voice came over the communication system. Calm and professional. Admiral, this is Captain Morrison. Do you wish to continue this engagement, or would you prefer to discuss terms for your surrender? Admiral Corlin stared at the wreckage of his fleet floating in space around him. 11 of his most powerful warships were nothing but twisted metal and flames. His flagship, the Pride of Zephyr, was barely holding together after the human weapons had torn through it like tissue paper. Damage report, Corlin demanded, his voice shaking with rage and fear. Sir, his engineering officer replied, we've lost main engines, half our weapons systems, and our primary shields are down to 20%. Hull breaches on 7 decks. The Admiral couldn't understand what had happened. His fleet had been the terror of the galaxy for decades. They had destroyed entire civilizations. Now one small alien ship had reduced them to scrap in minutes. On the Defiance, Captain Morrison watched the surviving Zephyrian ship struggle to maintain power. His crew had performed perfectly, just as he knew they would. Years of training and The finest technology Earth could produce had given them a victory that seemed impossible. Status report, Morrison ordered. Commander Brooks checked her instruments. All systems green. Captain, shields at 98%. No damage to the ship. Our weapons performed exactly as designed. Lieutenant Amy Foster looked up from her weapons console. Sir, the Admiral's ship is badly damaged, but still functional. Should I finish it? Morrison considered the question. No, Amy. We need someone alive to carry our message back to their empire, but keep all weapons trained on them. Chief Petty Officer Dan Roberts had been monitoring the battle from the gunnery station. He was an old soldier who had fought in Earth's bloodiest wars. Captain, their weapons technology is at least 50 years behind ours. Their shields work fine against energy weapons, but they've never seen kinetic projectiles moving this fast. Dr. Karen White was studying the alien technology through her sensors. Captain, I'm getting detailed scans of their systems. It's fascinating. They've built everything around energy manipulation, but they've never developed effective defenses against physical projectiles. Explain that in simple terms, Doctor. Think of it this way, sir. They've built the perfect umbrella to keep out rain, but they've never seen hail before. Our railguns fire solid metal slugs at tremendous speeds. Their shields are designed to stop energy beams and plasma bolts. The physical projectiles just pass right through. Morrison nodded. What about our other weapons? The quantum torpedoes use phase technology to pass through matter before exploding inside the target. Their shields can't stop something that doesn't exist in normal space until it's already past them. And our particle beam weapons operate on different principles than theirs. We're targeting molecular bonds instead of just heating up the hull. Commander Brooks added her analysis. Sir, their ships are built for fighting other energy-based civilizations. They're heavily armored against heat and radiation, but weak against kinetic impact. It's like bringing a sword to a gunfight. Morrison opened a communication channel to the damaged Zephorian flagship. Admiral Corlin, this is Captain Morrison. We can continue this fight, or you can listen to what I have to say. Admiral Corlin's voice came back weak and filled with pain. What do you want, human? I want you to understand something very important. This was not an attack. This was self-defense. You fired on us first. We responded with the minimum force necessary to protect ourselves. Minimum force, Corlin screamed. You destroyed 11 of my ships. Admiral, we could have destroyed all 12 ships, including yours, in the first 30 seconds. We chose to show restraint. We disabled your weapons and engines instead of destroying you completely. On his damaged bridge, Corlin realized the truth of Morrison's words. The human weapons had been precise, taking out specific systems, instead of obliterating his flagship entirely. They could have killed him at any time. Morrison continued speaking. We come from a planet called Earth. We are humans. We traveled here seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent species. We have no territorial claims in this region of space. We simply want to establish diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations, Corlin said bitterly. After destroying my fleet, you attacked us, Admiral. What did you expect? We defended ourselves. On Earth, we have a saying, peace through strength. We prefer to talk, but we can fight if we must. Dr. White had been analyzing the communication signals from other Zephorian ships before they were destroyed. Captain, I'm picking up some interesting data. These aliens have been using the same basic technology for over a century. They haven't faced any real opposition in decades. They've gotten soft, Morrison realized, when you're always the strongest force in the galaxy. You stop innovating, you stop improving. Lieutenant Ben Torres spoke up from the pilot station. Sir, we're detecting more ships approaching from deeper in their territory. Looks like a much larger fleet this time. Morrison looked at the tactical display. How many ships, Ben? At least 30, sir. Maybe more. They're still several hours away at current speed. Commander Brooks studied the sensor readings. Captain, if their response pattern holds true, they'll send everything they have. The destruction of an entire battle group will be seen as a major threat to Imperial authority. Morrison made a decision that would change galactic history. Open a channel to Admiral Corlin. Channel open, sir. Admiral, you need to contact your superiors immediately. Tell them that humanity wishes to establish peaceful relations with the Zephyrian Empire. Tell them we have no desire for conquest or territorial expansion in your region of space. But also tell them that any further military action against us will result in consequences they are not prepared to face. Are you threatening the entire Empire? Corlin asked. I'm stating facts, Admiral. We are one ship with a crew of 300 humans. We just defeated your best battle group without breaking a sweat. How many ships do you think Earth has built? How many humans do you think are trained for combat? The question hung in space like a challenge. Admiral Corlin had never considered the possibility that this single vessel might be just a scout ship. What if there were hundreds more like it? What if this Earth had an entire fleet of such advanced warships? Morrison's voice continued, calm and reasonable. Admiral, we could destroy the approaching fleet just as easily as we destroyed yours. But that would mean more death, more destruction, more hatred between our species. Instead, I'm offering you a chance to prevent further bloodshed. What do you propose? Contact your Emperor. Tell him that humanity requests a diplomatic meeting. We will withdraw to neutral space and wait for his response. If he chooses diplomacy, we can work out agreements that benefit both our civilizations. If he chooses war. ... double quotes. Morrison paused. Well, I think you now understand what human technology can do. Admiral Corlin looked around his ruined bridge. His officers were wounded, his ship was crippled, and his fleet was destroyed. He had spent his life believing in the absolute supremacy of Zephyrian military power. In one afternoon, these humans had shattered that belief completely. I will deliver your message, Corlin said finally. Thank you, Admiral. We will monitor your repair efforts and provide assistance if needed. Despite our differences, we don't want to see your crew suffer unnecessarily. The offer of help from the enemy who had just destroyed his fleet confused Corlin even more. What kind of warriors offered aid to their defeated opponents? As the Defiance moved away to give the Zephyrian flagship room to make repairs, Morrison turned to his crew. Good work, everyone. Ben, set course for the neutral zone. We'll wait there for the Emperor's response. Aye, sir. Course laid in. Commander Brooks approached Morrison's command chair. Captain, do you think they'll choose diplomacy? Morrison watched the damaged alien ship growing smaller on the screen. I don't know, Lisa, but we've given them something to think about. For the first time in centuries, the Zephyrian Empire has met an opponent they can't simply overwhelm with superior numbers. And if they choose to fight. Morrison's expression was grim but determined. Then we'll show them why humanity survived every war we ever fought. We'll show them what happens when you threaten Earth's children. The Defiance jumped to hyperspace, leaving Admiral Corlin alone with the wreckage of his fleet and a message that would shake the foundations of an empire that had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. The Imperial Palace on Zephyr Prime had stood for 1,000 years. Its crystal spires reached into the purple sky, and its halls had witnessed the rise and fall of countless species. Today, those ancient walls would hear something that had never been spoken within them before, a report of military defeat. Emperor Tsar Vathek received Admiral Corlin's transmission in his private council chamber. The recording showed the battle in horrifying detail. Imperial warships, the pride of the galaxy, burning and breaking apart under weapons fire from a single unknown vessel. Play it again, the Emperor commanded. His advisors watched in silence. As the images repeated, 11 of the Empire's most powerful ships destroyed in minutes. The Admiral's flagship crippled and helpless. And through it all, the alien vessel moved with a grace and speed that seemed impossible. Your Majesty, said General Thax, the Empire's highest military commander, this must be some kind of trick. No single ship could defeat an entire battle group. Emperor Vathek was old and wise. He had ruled for 60 years and had seen the Empire expand across 40 star systems. The evidence is clear, General. These humans possess technology we do not understand. But Majesty, Admiral Corlin's fleet was equipped with our newest weapons and shields. They should have been invincible against any known technology. Exactly my point, the Emperor replied. This technology is not known to us, which means these humans represent something we have never encountered before. Minister Krex, the Empire's chief diplomat, studied the tactical data with growing concern. Your Majesty, if this is truly the capability of a single human ship, we must consider what an entire human fleet could accomplish. The thought sent chills through the council chamber. One ship had destroyed a battle group. What could 10 ships do? 100? The mathematics were terrifying. What do we know about this Earth, they mentioned? The Emperor asked. Nothing, Majesty. Our deep space surveys have never detected any civilization in that region. Either they are very far away, or they have technology that hides their presence from our sensors. Emperor Vathek stood up from his throne and walked to the great window that overlooked his capital city. Millions of Zephyrians lived below, protected by the might of the Imperial Navy. That protection had just been proven inadequate. Bring me Admiral Corlin's full report, he ordered. The report arrived within hours, transmitted from the Admiral's damaged flagship. Corlin's words were carefully chosen, but his fear was obvious in every sentence. Your Majesty, the human vessel demonstrated capabilities that exceed our understanding of physics. Their weapons penetrated our shields as if they did not exist. Their own defenses absorbed our most powerful attacks without apparent effect. Their speed and maneuverability are beyond anything in our fleet. The Emperor read further. The human Captain Morrison claims his ship represents a peaceful exploration mission. He states that Earth has no territorial ambitions in imperial space but will defend itself against aggression. He requests a diplomatic meeting to establish formal relations between our civilizations. General Thax slammed his fist on the table. This is outrageous. They destroy our ships and then demand negotiations. We should mobilize the entire fleet and destroy their homeworld. With what? Asked Minister Krex quietly. If one of their ships can defeat our best battle group, what would happen to our fleet against their home defenses? The question silenced the general. For the first time in Imperial history, they were facing an opponent that might actually be stronger than they. Where Emperor Vathek made a decision that surprised everyone in the room. Send a message to Admiral Corlin. Tell him to accept the human offer for diplomatic talks. Arrange a meeting in neutral space. Majesty, General Thax protested. We cannot show weakness by negotiating with aliens who destroyed our ships, and we cannot show stupidity by fighting an enemy we do not understand, the Emperor replied sharply. Better to learn about these humans through diplomacy than to discover their full military strength through warfare. The Emperor's decision spread through the imperial government like wildfire within hours. Every military commander in the Empire knew that a single alien ship had destroyed Admiral Corlin's entire battle group. The psychological impact was enormous. On the border world of Talos IV, Governor Bex received the news with disbelief. His planet had been conquered by the Empire 50 years ago, and he had always accepted imperial rule as inevitable. Now, for the first time, he wondered if that rule might not be permanent. Commander, he called to his military aide, what is the current strength of the imperial garrison on our world? 2 cruisers and 1,000 ground troops, sir. Why do you ask? Just curious. Have you heard the news from the core systems about the human ship? Yes, sir. Hard to believe, isn't it? Governor Bex looked out at his capital city, where millions of his people lived under imperial occupation. Yes, he said quietly. Very hard to believe. Similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds throughout the Empire. Species that had been conquered and absorbed into Imperial territory began to whisper about the humans who could stand up to Zephyrian military might. On the mining world of Centax 7, the local resistance leader received coded messages from contacts throughout the Empire. "Is it true?" asked his lieutenant. "Did the humans really destroy an entire Imperial fleet?" "That's what the reports say. 1 ship against 12. The humans won. Maybe we should try to contact them, if they're enemies of the Empire." "Slow down. We don't know anything about these humans, except that they can fight. They might be worse than the Zephyrians, but the seed had been planted." Across the Empire, conquered species began to hope that perhaps the age of Imperial dominance was ending. Meanwhile, on the EU's Defiance, Captain Morrison was receiving updates from Earth through quantum communication. Admiral Patricia Hayes, head of Earth's new Interstellar Defense Force, appeared on the main screen as a hologram. "Captain Morrison, your report has caused quite a stir here on Earth. The President wants to know if you believe the Zephyrians will choose diplomacy or war." Morrison considered the question carefully. "Admiral, their empire is built on the idea that they are the strongest force in the galaxy. We've just proven that idea wrong. Some of them will want to negotiate. Others will want to fight to restore their reputation. And if they choose to fight, then Earth needs to be ready. The ship we destroyed was just one battle group. Intelligence suggests they have hundreds of similar vessels. Even with our technological advantages, we could face serious challenges if they commit their entire military to defeating us." Admiral Hayes nodded grimly. "The shipyards are working around the clock. We'll have 5 more ships of your class ready within 6 months. But Morrison, if this turns into a full-scale war, I understand, Admiral, we'll do everything possible to prevent that outcome. But if these aliens insist on viewing diplomacy as weakness, they'll learn what human strength really means." As the 2 fleets waited in space for the Emperor's decision, both sides prepared for an uncertain future. The Zephyrian Empire faced the first real challenge to their authority in 3 centuries. Humanity stood at the threshold of becoming a galactic power. Whether through peace or war, the next few days would determine the fate of both civilizations and reshape the balance of power across the galaxy. In his private quarters, Captain Morrison cleaned his service weapon and reviewed tactical plans, hoping he wouldn't need either, but ready for anything the Empire might throw at him. The age of unquestioned Imperial dominance was over. The age of human expansion into the stars had begun. 6 months had passed since the battle at Delta 7, and the galaxy was a different place. The meeting between Captain Morrison and Emperor Vothic had taken place on a neutral space station, with both sides bringing their finest diplomats and their most powerful warships. Ambassador Sarah Mitchell had arrived from Earth aboard the new Hughes Harmony, a ship designed specifically for diplomatic missions. Unlike the military-focused Defiance, the Harmony was built to impress rather than intimidate. Its elegant design and advanced technology showed visiting aliens what human engineering could accomplish when focused on peace instead of war. The negotiations had been tense but successful. Emperor Vothic, now face-to-face with the humans who had humbled his fleet, found them to be reasonable but inflexible on certain points. They wanted peaceful coexistence, free trade, and mutual respect between civilizations. In return, they offered to share some of their medical technology and scientific knowledge. What surprised the Emperor most was what the humans didn't want. They had no interest in conquering Zephyrian worlds or demanding tribute payments. They simply wanted recognition as an independent civilization with the right to exist in galactic space. Now, Commodore Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of his new flagship, the UES Independence, watching the construction of humanity's first permanent base in alien space. The station, designated New Geneva, floated in the neutral zone between human and Zephyrian territory. "It's quite a sight, isn't it?" SAID Admiral Lisa Brooks, joining Morrison at the viewing window. She had been promoted after the Defiance incident and now commanded her own ship, the UES Constitution. Morrison nodded, watching human and alien construction crews working side by side on the station's outer hull. I never thought I'd see humans and Zephyrians cooperating on anything after that first encounter. The Emperor turned out to be more practical than his admirals, Brooks observed. Once he understood that we weren't interested in conquering his empire, he became much more reasonable. The construction of New Geneva had been a diplomatic breakthrough. The Zephyrians provided raw materials and heavy construction equipment, while the humans contributed advanced technology and engineering expertise. The result was a station that combined the best of both civilizations. Morrison's communication device buzzed with an incoming message. "Commodore, this is Captain Ben Torres on the Constitution. We're receiving a priority transmission from Earth." "Put it through to my quarters," Morrison replied. "Lisa, want to hear what Earth Command has to say." They made their way to Morrison's private office, where the quantum communication system displayed Admiral Patricia Hayes' image. Behind her, Morrison could see the orbital shipyards of Earth, busy constructing the next generation of human starships. "Commodore Morrison, Admiral Brooks," Hayes began. "I have updates on several fronts. First, the diplomatic situation. 3. More species have requested formal contact with Earth through Zephyrian intermediaries. It seems word of our capabilities has spread beyond Imperial space." Morrison wasn't surprised. Any hostile intentions from these new contacts? Not so far. They appear to be seeking trade relationships and mutual defense agreements. The galactic community is reorganizing itself around the new reality of human presence. Brooks leaned forward. "What about the situation within the Empire itself?" Hayes' expression grew serious. "That's more complicated. 7 Zephyrian border worlds have declared independence from the Empire, citing the precedent set by humanity's successful resistance to Imperial authority. Emperor Vathek is dealing with the biggest internal crisis in Imperial history. Are they requesting our help?" Morrison asked. "Some are. The problem is, if we support these independence movements, it could destroy our diplomatic relationship with the Empire. If we don't support them, we look like hypocrites who only care about human freedom." Morrison understood the dilemma. Earth's success had inspired other species to seek their own independence, but helping them could restart the war humanity had worked so hard to avoid. "Admiral," Brooks said, "what's Earth's official position on this?" "The President has decided on a policy of cautious neutrality. We won't actively support independence movements, but we also won't help the Empire suppress them. Each species has the right to determine its own government." Morrison nodded approvingly. "That seems fair. What about our military situation?" "Much improved. We now have 12 ships of the Defiance class operational, with 6 more under construction. The new Harmony-class diplomatic vessels are also entering service. Most importantly, we've established defensive positions around Earth and our closest colonies." "Good. The Zephyrians seem genuinely committed to peace, but we need to be prepared for anything." Hayes' image flickered as the quantum signal adjusted. "There's one more thing, Commodore. We've detected long-range signals from civilizations much further from Earth. It appears news of humanity's emergence has reached species thousands of light years away. Some of those signals seem unfriendly." Morrison and Brooks exchanged glances. They had always known that the galaxy contained many civilizations, not all of them peaceful. "Any specific threats?" Brooks asked. "Nothing immediate, but our xenobiology experts believe some of these distant signals come from species that view humans as potential threats or resources. We may have bigger challenges ahead than the Zephyrian Empire." Morrison considered this news. "Admiral, recommend we continue expanding our defensive capabilities while pursuing diplomatic solutions wherever possible. We've proven that humans can defend themselves, but we don't want to become the aggressors in galactic politics." Agreed. Morrison, your next assignment is to lead a diplomatic mission to the Andromedan Trade Confederation. They've requested formal contact and seem genuinely interested in peaceful relations. Understood. When do we depart? Next week. Take the Independence and 2 escort vessels. This could be our chance to establish humanity's first major galactic alliance. After the transmission ended, Morrison and Brooks sat in silence for a moment, contemplating humanity's rapidly changing situation. Jake, Brooks said finally, do you ever wonder what would have happened if we'd backed down during that first encounter with Admiral Corlin? Morrison smiled grimly. We'd probably be mining slaves on some Zephyrian world right now. The galaxy respects strength, Lisa. Everything we've accomplished started with our refusal to be intimidated, and now we're becoming one of the major powers ourselves. Whether we wanted to or not, Morrison agreed. Earth expected us to make peaceful contact and return home with a nice trade agreement. Instead, we've started a galactic revolution. Through the observation window, they could see a Zephyrian transport ship docking with New Geneva Station. The crew would be delivering medical supplies for the station's mixed human-alien population. 6 months ago, such cooperation would have been impossible to imagine. Morrison's personal communication device chimed with a message from Earth. It was from his daughter, now serving as a junior officer on one of the new human warships being built in Earth's orbital yards. Dad, the message read, I'm graduating from the academy next month and have been assigned to the UES Enterprise. They tell me it's one of the new exploration vessels designed to seek out new civilizations beyond known space. I wanted to thank you for showing me what it means to serve humanity among the stars. See you when you get back to Earth. Morrison felt a mixture of pride and concern. His generation had fought to establish humanity's place in the galaxy. His daughter's generation would have to maintain it against whatever challenges lay ahead. Admiral Brooks stood up to leave. I should get back to my ship. We're escorting a trade convoy to the Proxima system tomorrow. Lisa Morrison called as she reached the door. Do you think we're ready for what's coming? She paused, considering the question seriously. I think we're as ready as we can be. We have good ships, trained crews, and allies who respect us. Most importantly, we've proven that humans don't back down from a fight, and if we face something worse than the Zephyrian Empire. Brooks smiled, with the confidence that had carried humanity through countless wars. Then we'll do what humans have always done, Jake. We'll adapt, we'll fight, and we'll win. The galaxy is about to learn that Earth's children don't give up easily. As night fell over New Geneva Station, Morrison watched the stars through his window and thought about the future. Humanity had traveled from a single planet to become a galactic power in just 6 months. The journey ahead would be longer and more dangerous, but they had proven one crucial thing to the galaxy. When humans said they would defend themselves, they meant it. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again.